everyone, how's it going? I wanted to film a new ASMR video, but this time I wanted to do it with some drawing, sketching for my sketchbook. So I've been working on this new series where I have been sketching, but I might also paint something. Sketching important places in my life. So the first two that I've done are my grandparents' houses on both sides of my family. And today I was eating lunch at this cafe nearby that I go to most weekdays to eat lunch. And I thought, yeah, that's an important place for me too. So I figured I'd just film it and we'll see how it goes. So thanks, let's get into it. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Like I mentioned, I did a bit of the sketching today when I was in the restaurant, but that's just in pencil. I want to go over it with this pen and make it come alive. So I will start. So one of the nice tools that I've started to use that I'm really enjoying is the proportional divider. It's basically this tool that lets you, it's too large to see in one frame, but basically you hold it up at arm's length, find the size of the thing on the wall that you want to draw, and then you transfer it to the paper with the other side. And it made this a pretty quick drawing. Just in a couple minutes after I finished eating, I had it done basically. So I've really enjoyed recently. I still like painting, and I will continue to do that, but I've enjoyed the speed at which I can get stuff done with these pens, and also it's kind of like a looser kind of technique painting. So first I want to make sure I don't lose these lines, just marking that out. They go straight down, but actually they're like a little curved towards the edge. I will put up on the screen, if I haven't already, the reference photo. I took a photo as well so that I could continue this at home. But I'm just trying to show a bit of the 3D form here without getting too detailed. I feel like I've lost. I want to just draw these back in. Close enough. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a nice, different medium. I've also been really into photography recently, which is surprising. I guess not that surprising. That was what I started with many years ago, was photography. But then I left it alone for like, I don't know, 15 years. And now I'm coming back to it and I'm enjoying it. It's like much more instant gratification than painting. Painting takes a long time. And the thing that I like about painting is a reason why I don't plan on quitting painting. But the reason I like it is that you spend a lot of time with your subject And for me, spending time with the subject is like half of the point. It's when I'm doing these paintings or these drawings, and this is kind of, gets to my motivation for wanting to do this important places project. I'm spending time with it, with that place, and I get like flashbacks to when I was there. I remember things that I didn't remember before doing that. I feel like when I was drawing my grandparents' houses, I felt like a connection to them. I felt like they were there kind of watching me, and that's just a cool thing. It's like a way to say hi to the past, and I like that. So this seed is done. Let me pull this wall out here. I'm not so happy with the angle that I did this at. I think I could come out here a bit. And I'll try and be quiet with putting down my pens and pencils, because I think in my last video I noticed that I was putting stuff down kind of hard, and that is not what I want to do. So, right, should I just get it all in first? Yeah, so also you may be able to hear my heat that has come on. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. If I need to film in the winter, then the heat needs to be on, so hope it's not too much of a distraction. Finding I'm not enjoying this surface. My hand is kind of like sticking to it. You know what I think I should do is put some paper next to it. That way my hand slides. So if you're curious, I'm using the 0.45 millimeter microlines, and later I will use the 0.2 millimeter as well for the lighter details. But I'm trying to decide right now if I want to, I'm gonna get all this in here first before I start to kind of fill in the colors. Yeah, that's much better for making smooth, straight lines. I need my hand to not stick. So these are actually kind of thick lines. I'm going to try and thicken these up a bit. Not sure. So one of the things I might try, I don't know how this works, but I'm using a lav mic, a mic that attaches to my shirt to record these, and I also have a good microphone that some people use for ASMR, but it is kind of bulky, so I can try in future videos to record with that, but I need to have like a laptop set up to record those. These lav mics just connect to my phone, which is what I'm filming this on. But it also comes with a second microphone, and so I wonder if I can record that in 2 channels. That might be nice. I've got to like look into the settings. I feel like I should probably be able to record in 2 channels with the 2 mics. I'm also trying to, well, first of all, I don't care if these lines get a little janky, but I'm trying to refrain from rotating the sketchbook because it's easier for me to do lines in one direction than to do like lines up and lines across. But I'm trying to develop my skills in that area, so I'm refraining from actually so now in the reference photo, from actually rotating it, in the reference photo you will see that this line's a bit thicker. Not quite sure how to. I think this will just work out. But I want this one thicker than the inside line. But I also want it to read as like a straight line. One of the techniques that I use that I found helpful in making my art is to use an unfocused eye. So right now I'm just trying to look at the overall shape of this and see which parts of it need thickening. Also, I feel like sometimes when I use the unfocused eye, it's easier to do a straight line, which is not what I would expect. I would have thought that I'd have to look at what I'm doing in order to do straight lines, but actually, honestly, sometimes I'm feeling in this moment that looking at it actually hinders my ability to draw straight lines. I mean, I'm looking at it, but I'm not, I'm looking at like the whole line, kind of focusing my eyes beyond, focusing my eyes beyond the page in front of me. So one thing I haven't decided on yet is if I'm going to bother to put in all of the tile work that kind of makes the wall what it is. Also, I guess I should shout this restaurant out by name, actually. It's called Tatte, Tatte. I did not know how to pronounce it at first for a while, and that's obviously a common problem. So I can't remember if they have a shirt or a sign or something that says it's Tatte like latte. And that's easy to remember. When I go there, I pretty much always get the same order. Even though it's for lunch, I get a brunch. Technically a brunch plate, but it's basically just like smoked salmon on this very good bun. It's like a kind of crispy outside, not crispy like it would crunch, but like firm. There's a nice chew to it. It's probably kind of bagel-like. Like I feel like they might boil it before they bake it, but I'm not positive on that. It is Novalox. This like kind of creamy chive sauce, capers, scrambled eggs, and it's just really good. I get that. I get a small cold brew coffee, and I get a chocolate chip cookie. Their chocolate chip cookies are very good. Today's was actually not the best. It was a little too crisp, a little too overcooked, maybe. Okay, here's what I start to get. I wouldn't say nervous, but I want this light to look good. So first I'm going to very slowly and deliberately make this a circle because I want that to look good. So something like this. Circles are hard, man. This gotta come out a bit. I don't want to go. I guess I'm gonna probably not go too detailed on this, but just gotta commit. Don't be nervous. That's the thing with my art, is that there's always a time where I'm like, oh, this is the risky part. If I don't do this right, it doesn't look right. I'm noticing now that these are uneven in their location. So, actually, you know what? Let me grab my ruler. Apologies for the sound. I'll probably edit that quieter. So let's see here. These seem fine. So let's follow that same procedure here. I'm gonna take some deep breaths now. It's a little oblong, but I can work with it. Just gotta not be scared. It's okay if you mess up a little bit. It's fine. No one cares. Okay, so now this has let me just zoom in on my reference here. So these actually have plates that come up slightly, curve like that on both sides. And then they come down. So, apologies for not talking, I'm just concentrating. Kinda not sure what to do with this. Okay, well I definitely want to come around here, make it a bit 3D. I think that's looking better. Give it some 3D elements. Gonna make it feel like it's got this beveled edge. Now, I wasn't wasn't sure how I was going to do the actual light, because I can't really make it light. But what I might try to do, it's already as light as it goes, what I might try and do then is kind of shade around everywhere except there with this light shading. So we'll see how that goes. Let me just finish up here. Come back through a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let me switch back to the 0.45 millimeter. The thick boy. So, see, it's just so much, I'm telling myself, so much easier when you're just confident with your, I was going to say brush strokes, but confident with your movements. Don't be nervous. Everything's okay. You're doing great. Everything's great. Okay. Should I come through here? Kinda don't like. Well, I'll have to look from afar. Right. The other thing I forgot is that there's actually a table down here, but now I've come in and put some stuff down. I think I'm gonna ignore that. I feel like compositionally it is lacking that element, but I've already come through here with that, so I'm going to ignore that for now. Okay, so I'm noticing the way the light comes, and once it gets to the edge here, it's starting to reflect a lot. So I'm going to come in on a diagonal. I'll crosshatch for the diagonals for all these. Crosshatch on a diagonal for all of these, rather. Just giving myself a guideline here. And then there's I can't turn the page, but I can turn my body. Let's see how this cross-hatching adds to the overall picture. So then this one comes in kind of like this. And then also comes down like this. Okay, I'll follow that cross-hatching, same direction. And just take some deep breaths. Those are not the same angle, right? So let's try and fix that. So down the bottom here is quite dark. So this one I want to curl down, follow the contour. That's looking okay. Kind of 3D looking. Okay, the third one, same kind of thing. Here it comes up. And like that. And from down here. Okay. Now the same angle. That's the way to do it. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that I really like about the sketching with these pens, is that it's like you can get a, and you know what, I'm noticing that these come up kind of far here. I think I need to, you can get a really like detailed look. What am I trying to say? Not that. I'm trying to say you can kind of make these 3D shapes. You can make these pop into 3D dimensions in a way that is more deliberate. Like the brush stroke direction works in painting, but this communicates very clearly what is going on. Okay, so then we continue kind of in the same way, but once we get to about the third one from the edge, once we get to here, it starts to get pretty bright opening up there. So we'll come down the same way on this one, and then we open it up pretty wide. So this one's just going to be like a couple of these, but then otherwise we'll continue at the same angle here. And you know what, I like how this communicates. So we're going to take, it's not necessarily actually there, but we're going to take it. I mean, it's there, but I'm noticing now the contrast is much softer on those, to the point where I probably don't even need to do them. But I do like how they look. I'm going to continue over here too. Okay. Yeah, that's something I'm still getting used to, is like how the contrast plays. Like you have a different sense of control of contrast with the oil paint, because you mix your pigments, but here it's like the spacing of the lines that does it, and that's something new to get used to, because it's not the same as, so like what I'm trying to say is that this reads in the photo much lighter than over here, and so I was I didn't do enough contrast over here, so I feel that I've got to come in and kind of vary these up a bit. Also, I don't want it to be so uniform. Also, I found that longer lines matter a lot more. I guess they kind of do in brush strokes too, but so this side's very dark, and I did not capture that. And I think I can come back through here. A lot of these, probably even with the thick boy, and add in that nice nice. Thick contrast line. Yeah, this is looking nice. So let me start by covering you all up. And then I'll come back through here and add that white contrast line. Oh, that one's fine. This one comes in like at a lot more of an angle. And honestly, actually, it gets pretty thick. Where this is like a lot of it. Let me widen you out too. And then these are like kind of almost the whole thing. And so I do want to fill these in with like a light. I just had like a very strong deja vu, and that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Like when I spend time with these places in paintings, I catch like glimpses into like, I don't know, it feels like other universes where I've done this before, or I've like spent a lot more time in this place, and that just feels like super interesting to me. And I only get that when I focus, well, I don't only get that, but I tend to get that when I focus on a scene for a while. So what I want to try is just, no, I can't, okay. I do want to continue these contours. What I was going to say is I want to try and just come straight down for all these, but I've already started on that angle, so I can't change things up just yet. Okay. This has to be contrasted against the lightest section on there. Just like this. So I'll come in. I think I might like it better without that outline. So yeah, I'm just finding how I want to do these things as I go. There was some very interesting things that I found yesterday. Oh, I want to continue here because I gotta make it darker. Some very interesting things I found yesterday in terms of like how I create the how I draw and design the plants around my my grandparents' houses. If you look at them, and maybe I'll link them at the end of this video, or you can check out my Instagram, which is linked below. It's there's like not a consistency in the way that the plants are done across like even one sketch, but I kind of liked that experimentation, and I learned a lot. And what I'm really feeling about my art these days is that it's gotta be easy. Easy, not in the sense of like, I'm not trying very hard, but like, in the sense of like, I can't kill myself over it. It's not, this has gotta come down a bit in contrast. It's not worth, like, 80% of the way is 100% of the way I want to go. Like, I could struggle a lot more to get that last little bit perfect. Just coming back in here because of the contrast. I want this to read as lighter, so I'm making this edge darker, even though it might only be darker in this one section. That contrast will show. I don't recall what I was trying to say, so I won't say anymore. I do need you to be pretty dark, so let's come in with this. Come in with this one and just darken you up here. And I do, on that very bottom, need you darker, darker, darker. Darker, 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 darker. And I'll just... Oh yeah, so for me, art should be fun. I shouldn't beat myself up over little things that are mistakes, or really they're learned lessons, and I've got to just leave them how they are and move on to the next thing with the knowledge that the lesson has been learned. I think that's already looking pretty cool. Now I want to come in here, so reflecting the light towards me comes like this. It's like towards the camera, and it's actually a little curled, so. But this gotta be pretty dark. However, there is a bright line just above here. Let me fill that in with comes in like this. Yeah, so repeating myself a little bit, but I'm liking the expressiveness of the pens. They're very, I don't know, it's definitely a different thing than painting, but it is cool to get it expressive. So I want to come across with lines here rather than a cross hatch, so let's bring you to the bottom. Things that I thought when I was leaving this restaurant, this cafe today, is that I was struck by an appreciation, let's say, for the fact that I don't have to cook lunch every day. It's just nice that a place like this exists within close driving distance for me, and I just really appreciated that about this place. It's like, yeah, it's a restaurant, and I don't know, at various points in my life I've thought about like what I'm trying to say is that I'm okay with paying for the privilege of being able to eat a good lunch. And I appreciate that is something I'm able to do. food matters a lot to me. Okay, now back down here. This is pretty much all dark, but there's a little bit of shape here. So, oh, should I go vertical with it? I think so. No, I feel like, sorry, I don't know if that's a good sound for ASMR. Let's not worry too much. I think I want it vertical. I think it comes in a little bit here. These can be, perhaps I'll do here a horizontal edge. No, maybe it should be horizontal the whole way because that's how it curves. That's the angle of its curvature. But yeah, it is as dark as... Oh, but these are the lighter. Okay. In general, and it's well, maybe this is outside, but I've got to reevaluate the values. Values being how bright something is. I've got to reevaluate the values here because typically vertical facing things like this pen, the side of them is darker than horizontal facing things. So like the ground, if you're outdoors anyway, the ground is light. The sky is the brightest point pretty much always. The ground is the second brightest because that plane reflects the light up towards your eye. Let's see, up towards your eye. And the vertical plane, if we're looking in the plane of this, if you imagine this a tree growing with the ground being down here, that's darkest because the light from the sky is hitting it at an angle where it bounces and hits the ground rather than to your eye. So all of that is to say that my vertical faces here should be darker than my horizontal faces. But what I'm seeing with how I've done this is that this is the darkest part. And looking at my reference photo, you know, it is pretty dark, but so essentially I think I can come back through here with a lot of this and darken things up a bit. Here, I do want to try this. I just want to leave that edge alone because I need it to read as the actual edge. And then this bottom here can get pretty dark. And you know what? If it's not going to work out, then that's fine. It's not going to work out. But that is the way that it should have been in theory. One of the things that's nice is just like the simplicity of having just black and white. I'm enjoying that. I also enjoy my painting. But this is fun sometimes. Same with photography. It's fun sometimes. Okay, so now we've got some shadows here. That's looking like pretty good. I kind of want to try to put, I need to put some shadow over here. So that's the edge of this thing coming out. I'll round that off a bit. I need to be down here at an angle and kind of curved. So sorry, I'm just concentrating here. I'm not talking because of that, but... So which way do I want shadows to run? Let's just go north-south. Maybe making this too detailed, but zooming out on my reference here, and I think I'm just gonna go behind here. Well, I want to take this angle if I can. So directly straight on should be here, and maybe over here it should be like that. So we're gonna transition between this angle. This just adds to my eye, it adds a three-dimensionality to have these hatch marks running in a way that's like parallel or coming out at a right angle from the wall. So again, I don't want this to be too detailed because I don't want it to distract. But also I don't want it to be just rushed. So let's take a deep breath, let's slow down, and let's do this right. And interestingly, I guess that's because it's under something. The way the light comes in, it's actually darker on the floor than on the wall. So, take some deep breaths. Everyone, take some deep breaths with me if you're here. By the power of our breaths, we will get through this. We will get through this and on to the next one. And we'll learn what we need to learn. Oh, so, just I want to keep repeating my PSA, which is, if you feel like you want to make something, no matter what it is, then I highly encourage you to make something, whatever it is. The temptation to wait until you think that you're skilled enough to do the thing, make the thing that you're envisioning come to fruition in like the best way that you can. That's not going to, I mean, it could happen, but what I mean to say is that it's, the way you learn is by doing, so just get out there and do it. Make the damn thing. I'm not speaking to you as someone who's so smart and, I've overcome all these things. I'm talking also to myself. So don't for a second imagine that I've got this all figured out. However, you gotta fucking make it, bud. You just gotta make it. You'll learn it as you go. I'm repeating these mantras for myself, where I keep saying, all the things I've been saying. I keep saying that you've got to get it 80% of the way there, etc. This is because there's such a temptation to keep working on something and struggling. And honestly, I'm not going to struggle. at this point in my life. This is for fun. It should be for fun. It's like the phrase sports are fun. Like, yeah, sports are supposed to be fun. This is looking a little too rigid, so I'm gonna come in here and do some things that are... Sports are fun. If they give you heart palpitations, then find something else to do. A very wise man named Bashar said, "The first stage of enlightenment is lightening up." Don't be so hard on yourself. And I agree. At least that resonates with me, and that's what I'm trying to do. I do want this to feel darker, so I'm just coming in with these cross hatches. Okay. So now at this point in the process, I want to... Well, this just looks strange, so I gotta come through and repeat. Okay, so at this point in the process, I've got to this is looking a little strange, so I'm just got distracted by trying to futz around with it. Okay, so I'm gonna take a step back and look at this from afar and see what it needs. So that shadow's looking good. I like that. I like basically everything that we've got here when I back up. However, the ground needs some texture, and the walls need some texture. So let me think about this. If I come in here with these and just do a real rough, light, vertical line, does that distract the eye? I hope not, because I'm doing it. But we're gonna find out together. So back to my encouragement for you to make something. You know, you don't have to believe your thoughts. In fact, this is how I'm approaching life currently. I feel if something feels exciting to me, like I'll have an idea, like I want to do this I want to do this here thing, this series of places that are important to me. So I thought, okay, and that seemed exciting. And then I literally cut it off there. I said to myself, okay, we can't think about it anymore. We just have to make the damn things. There's no, oh, but I don't know. There's nothing like that. There's no, oh, I would be better if I did. Whatever. Just stop thinking. Just do it. And later, if excuses crop up, I ask myself, well, I did find this to be interesting at one point, right? And maybe I'll start it. I start the task. And if it's really not feeling like it, then I'll listen. But before that moment, I just assume that whatever excuse I'm building in my head is just that, an excuse. And if, like I said, if once I've started, because I'm also not forcing things, if once I've started it still feels wrong, then that's when I'll say, okay, time to do something else. But still, I'll ask myself, like, I'll try to ask myself, what is it that I'm afraid of? What am I afraid will happen? Or what am I avoiding? And are these, is this something that's worth avoiding? Or am I just encountering resistance because I'm afraid of what it could become? I'm afraid of what I might discover, but really, there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't know, I'm rambling, but I'm sure I will continue to talk about this if you guys continue to come watch these videos. You're not alone if you feel these things, and also you don't have to listen to them. Speaking as much to myself as to everyone else. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to listen to them. You'll know which thoughts you can listen to, should listen to. And you'll know which ones you don't have to listen to, because the ones you don't have to listen to are the ones that you don't want to listen to. You'll know the difference if you're completely honest with yourself, which I hope you are. How's this looking so far? Yeah, it's nice to have some texture there, even if it's not the tile work. Tile work would just be too difficult, is my assumption. I don't know. Too tedious. This notebook binding is making some crackly sounds, so I hope that's not a problem for you. I think we'll be getting pretty close to done once we're done with this hatch working. I'm not sure if I will put the hatch in the square there. I'll have to take a look at it before I decide. And I've also got to come back over to this wall on the left here. There's a wall that comes out, and I've got to make that more closely spaced than what I've done here. It's kind of crazy. I always think these little drawings they're so fast, right? No, I've already been working on this part for an hour, and maybe I spent 20 minutes on it earlier in the day when I was actually at lunch. So it's really the same as a painting. I find that it doesn't matter what size I work. I mean, I haven't worked at the largest scales. Maybe that's different, but if I work on a 5x7 canvas, I end up putting detail in to a degree that it takes the same damn amount of time to do the 5x7 as it does a 16x20. And then the 5x7 just feels like a fiddly little mess where I'm really futzing over all these little details. And when I do that, it just makes me think I'd be so much better off if I just painted this at 16x20. So today, maybe I'll throw this up on screen. Today, when I was driving to get this lunch, I passed a house that they were tearing down with a bulldozer. It was really close to the street, and I didn't have my camera with me. wasn't far from home, so I turned around and came back with my camera and took a photo. I took like 20 photos, but the problem is my lens is a prime lens, which means you can't zoom on it, and that's good for some things, but for this I had a hard time getting the whole scene in the frame because it was on the side of a road on like this corner, and I couldn't back out into the street very far, only like a foot, and it's on a busy street too, and so I couldn't really get the whole thing in frame, but I did manage to capture one photo that I thought looked pretty cool, so I assume that I'll be showing it to you here momentarily. So now I don't know. Okay, let me come through here. So let's do, okay, I need to come all the way down. This is kind of a pain when I gotta twist my body more. Okay. Here is my alleged vertical line. That's probably not so vertical. That might sound kind of cool on the track. I'm also not sure if you can hear my dog licking. Okay, Pupper, that's enough. Thank you. He licks a lot. And actually when we got him, he had licked so much that he barely had any fur on one spot. So we try to make sure that he's not licking too much. Okay, Pupper, that's enough licking. Thank you. His name's not Pupper, but like any dog, he's got a billion nicknames, and I guess at this point he actually does respond to all of them, but I could see how it would be confusing. How you wouldn't know what your actual name is at this point if you were him. Okay. Just gonna come back in here. I do need to twist my body. But so far it's actually not so bad to have to keep the notebook straight. I guess I have to keep my easel straight when I paint, so. But that feels like a different thing. Okay. This isn't really reading as a wall to me. Maybe it is through the video, but I'd like this corner to be a bit more obvious. Classic problem that everyone has, every child has when they draw with a ruler. Okay, and now finally I just want to do some roughly spaced lines here that where do we decide that flat is going to be, like a little off to the center here, and then let's just follow it like this. This one's a little thinner, but that's okay. Oh, that wasn't my finest line. Sorry, I realize you can't see what I'm doing, but that's how I gotta do it. Okay. And that is the final draft, I think. I think I'm okay leaving that a little sparse. Keeps it in focus. I would like this edge to be a little bit more deliberate. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'll put some photos up on the screen now of the finished product, zoomed in and etc. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. My name's Patrick, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.